What are you doing on my set? Now you gotta tell everybody that was just a joke. I'm not that mean.
The question is, are you ready?
Welcome to today's episode of Crema featuring me, Casey J. Porter from Combustion Chamber. Let's get after it.
My name's Jim Carlton. I assist Casey Porter in his filming of the show. This is kind of behind the scenes.
So, in this 1963 Impala today, I hit switches for the first time.
I'm also the driver of the film car.
I have a broken thumb, so this is gonna be fun.
Oh my gosh, how'd you break your thumb? See, these are important behind the scenes discussions that goes on in the filming. That's the part you don't know, kids.
All right, my man. It's my first time in a lowrider, hitting switches. How do I do? Well, I mean, you know, why not if I start it first? Yeah. Back up just a little bit, fellas. Remember, it's an ultra wide, so. That's awesome.
Hey everyone, I'm Mario and I'm here to help Casey out. We're going to be shooting a car and I'm going to be the drone pilot. So we're going to have a few shots. We're trying to figure out where we're going to park the car to get the best lighting possible and the best angles. Probably going to do some 360s around the car and some cool shots.
Your particular camera work, you can't just go up anytime you feel, can you?
No, not really. So there's a lot of regulation and the regulation has been changing a lot. So at any given day, we have different regulations that we have to study a lot. We have to keep in mind of all the rules that are in place. You have to take an exam and get a license if you want to do it for commercial reasons. If you're doing it just like for fun, then it's fine. But there's a lot of rules, like you can't be close to airports, like the weather has to be good. You have to take into consideration everything from wind to condensation to clouds to there's just a lot. So there's a lot to study and a lot to learn about drones, but they're pretty cool machines. There's a lot of different drones, there's a lot of different cameras, there's a lot that we can do. So yeah,
It looks good. The only thing is that you got a big dumpster right in the back.
Are you serious? Okay, we gotta move the car then. So we gotta set all this up again. That's fine. Yeah, I want that dumpster out of the shop.
We are rolling. 3, 2.
Today on Combustion Chamber, we have our very first lowrider. Let's get after it. Today on Combustion Chamber, we have our very first lowrider. Let's get after it.
What's going on, Crema? How we doing out there today? So, I know it's been a while since you've seen me on camera. And the craziest thing happened. So, Julio ended up, he took this pill some guy gave him downtown, and he actually lost about 25, 30 years. He's got hair back on his head again, and, oh wait, actually, we had to bring a millennial in to make sure everything went right on this broadcast. So, say hello to my friend Anthony Gonzalez.
What's up, everyone? Glad to be here. I'm excited to start these new series of videos and looking forward to meeting great guests and sharing some great insight with everyone.
So we had Crema, we did all through the whole time we were shut down, and we started meeting live again. So with that, we haven't been filming as much, but it doesn't mean we're still not out in the community running into people and doing various different things. So today I have a very special guest, a friend of mine, Casey Porter, and we met, God, it's been years ago when I used to be in the car business, and you spent a lot more time in the dealerships then too as well.
Yeah, it was 5 or 6 years ago now, I think. It was a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a bit. So Tell us, what are you doing now? So I know you have your photography, your video business and that, but you always had a passion. I remember always running into you at car shows and that.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you were starting to do something even way back.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am heavily invested into cars, the car lifestyle, going to shows, filming cars, driving cars, and of course, I was working at a dealership that shall go unnamed for a short period of time, and of course, some great cars were there. But over the course of my professional career, I really want to do my own thing, where I have kind of complete control over the quality and the stories being told. So that's why I started my show, Combustion Chamber.
Tell us a little bit about Combustion Chamber, what you cover on that.
So on Combustion Chamber, we really interview and follow everyday car people. When you look at most car content, because most of it's video now, it's either new cars or celebrities or goofy antics, and the everyday car person is really just ignored. So what we decided to do was, let's feature those individuals. Let's feature just everything from a 58 BMW IZ, a very tiny little European car, all the way to your supercars and your hypercars and just everything in between, and really focus on their stories like magazines used to do when everything was print. You'd have regular real people in there. So that's what we decided to do in video form.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because I remember as a kid, you're always looking for where are all the muscle cars at? Where's all the loudness, the power, and everything else? And there was all kinds of magazines to get into, but you really don't see those anymore. And even on the video side, you see some guys out there doing it, such as yourself, where they'll have something, but consistency is one thing. Getting an actual message out there as well is another thing. And I do want to talk to you on your messaging with that as we get into this. So I did a behind the scenes for Combustion Chamber, and you had a 63 Impala lowrider on that one. So talk to us a little bit about that particular shoot.
Well, Central Florida has a really massive car scene. A lot of people, I don't think, know that. They think Southern California, big tech cities like Austin, South Florida, Miami, places like that. But lowriders are incredibly rare, even with our massive car scene. I saw this lowrider at a car show. It was at a small town show in Longwood. And I saw it, and I just ran up to it, because I grew up in Texas, around the Hispanic culture. A vast majority of my friends are Hispanic. So I went to lowrider shows and looked at those cars, and I love them. And to see one, I just flipped out, like in a positive way, of course.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I knew I had to have it on the show. It was very clean. It was just an immaculate shape, and there are different types of lowriders that are set up different ways. Some have murals dedicated to their faith, their family, whatever the case might be. And some, like the one we had on the show, are just very clean. They're almost original, with the exception of the hydraulic system and maybe the stereo, which was this car in that particular case. And I saw it, and I was like, I have to have this on the show. I've loved lowriders. But of all the cars I've driven, even some of the most rare and unique cars in the world, I had never driven a lowrider, and it's one of my favorite types of cars. So I approached the gentleman, and it went from there.
How does it feel driving a lowrider?
So if you drive old muscle cars or old classic cars, there's a lot of play in the steering wheel, right? You turn the wheel, and the wheels don't turn immediately.
Yeah.
We kind of take this for granted today. If you've never driven one of those cars, you turn the wheel, there's no slop in it. It's kind of what it's called. So there was a lot of that, because of that type of car. Now there's ways to eliminate that, but do you want to eliminate the driving feel of a car like that? So when you're driving it, you're really, and you're on smaller tires too. So you're like, you really want to be careful and kind of feel it out. Once you get the feel of it, you're good. But I kind of compare driving cars like that, classic cars that have been modified, to the way motorcycle drivers describe being, you have to be more alert and more aware than your average motorist.
Yeah.
So you really have to feel the car, feel what it's doing, listen, and really understand and be able to take in that information. Now, it was a lot of fun to drive. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot of fun. But when you're in a vehicle like that, you have to be much more aware than your average motorist. I'll give you an example. The 67 Camaro that me and my father restored. I'm hyper aware when I drive that because I don't have power brakes.
Oh yeah, I had a 68 Charger with that.
Yes.
Don't drive it in the rain, I'll tell you that. That's the only tidbit of information you're getting out of that.
They used to drive them in the rain, but not anymore now.
Yeah, four-wheel drums.
Oh, so you had brake fade if you hit the brakes too much.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Add rain and a stupid person in front of you, and you got to find pieces that don't exist.
Yeah. So it's driving classic cars is a risk, but this one was in immaculate shape. It was fun to drive. Hitting the switches on it, which is now part of the suspension with the hydraulics. Now it's a lay-in-play system, meaning it doesn't hop off the ground. There's different types of hydraulic systems for different applications and what you want to do with the car. You could go up and down, and it was a ton of fun. And to be able to do that and have that experience, I absolutely loved the car. And you know, some people say don't meet your heroes, right? Because you're disappointed. It just makes me want a lowrider more.
Yeah.
It's on the wish list.
Yeah, of mini cars.
Cars in general bring out various different cultures, as well as you've got all your car clubs and everything else. Now, you also personally have some of that other culture coming into you. So we see an eagle that we have up in the front, if you see that right there. Now, I noticed when we were shooting that eagle goes along on every shoot with you, and it's something very special to you and your camera operator.
Yes, camera operator is my wife. She's from Brazil originally. She got her citizenship, and that was given to her as a gift. So it's in her Jeep all the time, and as is the American flag there, that's actually given to you at the ceremony. And so that's in her Jeep all the time, and you know, she loves her Jeep. She's I would say a big fan of America. You know, New York Yankees, New York City, you know, America, rah, 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 which is fantastic. I think it's great. She knows U.S. flag code frontwards and backwards. Most people don't even know U.S. flag code exists.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's invaluable on the show. You know, we really couldn't make it without her. When I first wanted to make the show, I had never had any intention of being in front of the camera. And I wanted to host. And my wife was like, listen, we can't afford anybody. We can't pay somebody. And who are we going to find that's going to work for free that knows as much about cars that you do? So when someone tells you a new piece of information about a car, you know how to react to that. So I found a sucker that would work for free. And so now I host the show. And it's a lot of fun, though. And now when I see her hanging out of the Jeep, so she's, you know, the window's down. She's outside the vehicle with a Steadicam rig, and she's, you know, getting these shots. And I'm rather demanding with how the show is shot, because I do some of the shooting myself, but I'm very specific about things.
Kind of like how you kicked me off your set, right?
Yeah. I mean, he had to go.
He did ask for me to cut that out, that he didn't want people thinking he was like that at all, but guess what? That's what you saw start this program here.
He just gave you guys full permission to kick Rob off of anything.
Yeah, there you go. But, you know, it's always in good fun. It is a lighthearted shoot. You know, we do take things like safety very seriously, but it is hard work. But like I said, it's a lighthearted thing. There's shoots that I've been on in my career that were unsafe or unpleasant for whatever reason. I mean, there's a variety of reasons why I produce my own show, and some of those other aspects is keeping a positive tone about the shoot, making it enjoyable, but also, like, safety is a big thing with me, so our shoot is very safe. So there's multiple factors that go into why the show exists, but going back to my wife, hanging out of the vehicle with a Steadicam rig, with a camera, and doing that, I couldn't be more grateful to her and the rest of the team, because it is hard work, and they're helping the owners of these cars get the attention I feel that they deserve, and they're helping me. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and being on set, watching you go through this whole process. So you guys see from these shots where everything's pulled back and you see the various cameras with the various tripods and that they're using, but you don't see the amount of effort that goes into with clean lines and making sure that, and if you watch his shows, you're going to see that the camera work on it goes through great length to make sure reflections, various lighting, and talk to us a little bit about that. Also talk to us about where you get these wheel shots, because even though you saw how crazy she is as far as getting the driving shots, she's not that low into the car getting the wheel shots. So tell us a little bit about that whole process too.
Well, I'm a big stickler for quality. And when I see a show that I know who's making it, basically Discovery Channel owns almost all of car video content now. And when I see that they have a GoPro that's visible on the side of the car, or cameras that are visible inside the car, they cut from one angle of the driver, or whatever the case might be, they cut these different angles, and you see the crew reflecting in the car body. You see the GoPro camera or whatever system they may be using. And I find it wholly unacceptable at their level. They're working in the incredibly expensive range of things. And I think, why don't you organize your time in such a way to eliminate, these lines of sight, is what I call them.
Yeah.
And so I from the very beginning, I said, for my show, we will never ever do that. Now, if we accidentally catch something, because some of the GoPros we use are still pretty old and we don't have the screen on the back, that's one thing. But quality is a big deal to me. So, and the safety as well. I'll give you an extreme example. When we have the Impala, we put the suction cup mounts on it, and we get these low shots, so it's right behind the wheel. And and when the car goes down, it's only about this far off the ground. But I know the street that we're driving on, there's no potholes, there's no bumps, it's freshly paved. It's very safe, so the camera's not going to get hit and pop off and then ding the side of the car or hit a wire wheel on that Impala.
Right.
Whereas the most extreme version of that I mentioned before is filming on racetracks. We have a Viper episode that we're currently working on where we're at Daytona International Raceway, Sebring, and making sure that these camera mounts are getting these really nice, unique angles, but being very safe is paramount. So we've got some cameras that are this far off the track, but we know how the track is laid out. But the big safety concern of that is, let's say that Discovery Channel has a production out there and an accident happens. Typically, that company will be allowed to come back. But if a GoPro or a microphone falls off my Viper race car that I'm filming, bounces off the track and hits a Porsche, a Lamborghini, or any other race car that's out there, it's a one-and-done scenario. These racetracks are run by very good people, very nice people, but if that happens, you're gone and you're never coming back. So that level of care that I take on the racetrack is the same level of care I would with the Impala, because I respect the car so much and the owner's time to let me drive it, to attach cameras to it. Now, we lay this all out beforehand. Are you okay with this? And then the day of the shoot, we also ask, are you okay with this again? But it's such a privilege to drive some of these cars. That's why it's important that we get these great unique angles, that we make it look good, we make it look professional, but we're also very safe. Because if someone came up to me that looked just like me and said, "Could I drive your car?" I would be, no. Like, who are you, and go away. Like, so.
And the McLaren episode kind of comes to mind first. It's like, can I drive your car that costs more than my house?
Well, I think one of them was like one of 10 in the world.
So the McLaren 600 LT MSO was one of 10 in the world.
Wow.
Although I do believe it was the only one that was painted south gray, that particular color, the city Le Mans is run in. Mm-hmm. But one of the funniest comments I ever got, and I took it and I put it on our Instagram, is we had a Lamborghini Huracan Performante, and they were like, "Nice episode, good job, but it's really weird seeing Joe Dirt drive a Lamborghini." So Joe Dirt has this sequence where he's pointing into the camera like this, or like that, and I pointed to the camera, let's get after it. I do that, And so I put a screen capture of me from that episode and Joe Dirt pointing at the camera, and I put it together with the comment. And it was, I thought it was way too funny of a dig not to use it. I was like,
Yeah.
this is great. I don't get upset at comments like that at all. I think it's hilarious.
You gotta embrace it. You know what? As crazy as that is, the crazy antics or the goofy things that some people take offense in
Oh, yeah.
is actually what sells and makes you you and gives you your own identity and everything moving forward.
Well, we have a little, we've only done a few episodes, but it's sort of like a news and commentary component of Combustion Chamber called Firing Order. And one of those went viral. Has about 197,000 views. So it's just flooded with comments. And some of the comments were very negative. Most of the time it's positive or middle of the road type stuff, but you will get very negative comments the more you put yourself out there. And it doesn't really bother me, especially if it's a really good insult. Like, this is stuff that people complain about now online, but I'm like, I've replied like, dude, that was really clever. Like, you're really talking to the host right now, and that was really brilliant stuff. Like, I think it's funny, but you have to be prepared for that, and you have to have, to me, I don't consider it thick skin, I just consider it being a man, and conducting yourself as such, but I don't even mind the negative comments. I think some of them are just downright hilarious. I have a thing with interiors. Like, I have my favorite smelling interiors. Like the hot vinyl in the 67, like on a searing hot day.
Yeah.
I love it. The smell of these Chevy small blocks when you open them up, like, I know oil and grease kind of generally smells the same, but they do smell different.
There's something we noticed in a few of the
pink.
videos.
Little pink, something that's hidden over there.
So, one of my favorite directors is Tony Scott, and he always wears pink ball caps everywhere he goes. He's at a movie premiere, he's directing a movie, whatever the case might be. And he's my favorite director, and he died way before his time. And if you're not aware of who Tony Scott is, he directed films like Man on Fire, Top Gun, Crimson Tide, Days of Thunder, True Romance, Revenge, just a whole mountain of really memorable films, and a lot with Denzel Washington later in his career. And in his films, at a certain point in his career, I think it was late 80s, early 90s, he started putting his pink ball cap in the movies as kind of like an Easter egg. So at the end of The Last Boy Scout, Damon Wayans is wearing it. I think that's Damon Wayans. It's one of the Wayans brothers. Anyways, he's wearing it at the end. In Spy Game, in Robert Redford's office at the CIA, it's on the hat rack. In Man on Fire, the young boy who kind of spooks Denzel Washington, when he comes up to try to wash the window, the boy's wearing his hat on backwards. So it's tucked into all these places. So because I'm such a big fan, and he's had such an influence on my style, how I compose my shots, how I make them look, I put that pink hat in every episode. I've done it for a long time now, not throughout the entire run of the show, but it's always there. So sometimes it's blatant, like you can clearly see it's in the car, or sometimes it's on the dash of like the McLaren, and then the aerial shot, the car's right here, we're going around, and you see this pink hat on the dash, like for no reason. And I explained to the owners why I do that, and they're like, okay, we get it. And so it just had a very, very big impact on me. So the Viper episode that we have coming out is actually a dedication to Tony Scott. So it's going to be about the owner, why he's got a race car, why he races it. Because a lot of people buy this particular Viper, and it is a race car, it's a track-oriented car, but a lot of them collect it. He tracks it, and tracks it frequently. And he's a very nice guy. He's been on the show before. So it'll be about him in the car, but it'll also have that little dedication to Tony Scott. So it'll be kind of a wrap-up of this pink hat. But sadly, nobody's commented, why do we keep seeing this pink hat over and over again? People, I don't know if they've noticed it or not.
They may not notice it. Well, if you look at Hitchcock, when he started becoming part of his movies, and other directors have done it since then.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody noticed him. But once it got noticed, if you remember, if you get into any kind of that kind of film history, he stopped going into the movies because people weren't watching his movies and getting the gist of his movies because they were too busy. Where's he at? So maybe we need to cut this out of there. There is no pink hat.
Yeah. Oh, yes, there is. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So I want to talk to you about one last thing too. So through Crema, we get involved with a lot within our community, and one of the groups we get involved with is various veteran groups, and letting the veterans know that there are channels for them to go if they need help in whatever sense it might be. And you're a veteran yourself.
I am.
So thank you for your service. We definitely appreciate that.
I appreciate it.
But you have a particular video, and I want you to talk about that episode. And this is hands down one of my favorite ones, and I promise you it'll bring a tear to your eye. And it was not, he didn't crash the McLaren, and it's not the Starsky and Hutch, it's not any of these other ones. Check them all out. They are all pretty cool, but tell them about this particular vehicle.
So you're right. I'm an Iraq veteran. I was deployed twice during my time in the Army, and I found this vehicle that is a 1946 Chevrolet pickup truck, and it's what they call a rat rod. So a rat rod is a vehicle that is made to look really rough, or it's rusty and it just looks dilapidated, but it's fine. You can drive it around. But this one does have that rat rod aesthetic, but what it does all over the vehicle are signatures of veterans. So if you've served, you can sign the truck. Now there's a couple of spots on this truck that are reserved for special signatures. The tailgate, for example, is for Gold Star families. And if you don't know what a Gold Star family is, that's the surviving family members of a service member that has passed away. While they're overseas, or whatever that particular case might be for that family. And then I believe the dash is reserved for Purple Heart and Medal of Honor, I think. But the rest of the vehicle is covered in signatures. In fact, it's so full now that they have these leather bed covers that are signed, and then when that's full, they pull it off, put another one on there. So when they take it to a show, people can continue to sign it. Then they bring those on display as well. And I met these two gentlemen. They're both Vietnam veterans. I believe they were both doctors or medics or something. I'm not quite sure of their exact job. But they were there. They were in it. And once I found out the story, I really wanted them on the show. Told them I was a veteran. And it was a very important episode to shoot. Like, they're all important to me. But this one carried a much more powerful message. You talked about the Starsky and Hutch car. We've had a Starsky and Hutch car on the show. It was a ton of fun. We were recreating scenes from the movie and TV show, and we were like two little kids. It was a total blast, and I pushed the car a little too hard. We did not crash, but the owner's face says it all, right? Vic's a nice guy. He's a hell of a guy, great friend, but that's fun, and I take it very seriously. But the veterans truck carries a very different message. And if you watch that episode at the end, where I'm saying basically what you have said, if you're feeling certain things, don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Yeah.
That's all ad-lib. Most of the time when I'm talking into camera and explaining something, it's almost 100% ad-lib because I'm way too lazy to write. So, and that was the final thing we shot that day. And that was actually right after the sit-down interview with the two gentlemen. And so that was rough. Like, that was a very grateful to have done it, very grateful to be there, grateful to these gentlemen for letting me drive and film this vehicle. But that was an episode that, and for a good reason, took its toll. And I'm very, very proud of it. I dedicated it to two gentlemen that lost their lives on my first deployment that I served with, Corporal Robbie Light and First Sergeant Charles King. Yeah, outstanding guys, without question. But that care and sincerity we put into every episode. We were talking earlier about how we attach cameras and why we're so meticulous about it. Well, you can't attach a GoPro to the side of this truck. You might pull off a signature by mistake.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. Coincidentally, we were actually able to attach the cameras to the frame of the truck.
Oh wow!
But the camera got so hot, I could barely pull it back off because it was right by the header, and then as they came off, right where an exhaust pipe should be, there was none, and so it was a beautiful shot. Camera was like. But
yeah, but if you're going to sacrifice a camera, that's the one to do it.
Camera still works. Oh yeah, the mount still works and everything, but the importance of something like that means a lot. And so it's the same thing with the lowrider episode. Talking about their culture and how it relates to the car is important. So you have to be on it. If it's something that is factual, it has to be correct.
Yeah.
If it's speculation, let the audience know it's speculation. But that kind of treating it with the respect it deserves, no matter if it's a fun episode like Starsky and Hutch or the Veterans Truck, treat it with the sincerity it deserves. And yeah, I'm very proud of that episode, and those gentlemen are great.
Yeah, and even with Crema, those of you that go to our regular events, our socials and that, first and foremost, we have a good time. We are focused about business and getting business out there. But those weeks when once a month we focus on giving back to the community, even our socials we focus on giving back to the community as well. But I think one of the best events we did was we spent time at the Fisher House. We've got a private chef, and he's got his own catering company that he does, but went in there with him and cooked lunch for all the families of the veterans that were there getting whatever kind of attention that they needed. So, and those are the ones that it's just close to home, and it's right there in your heart, and it's tough. It'll bring a tear to your eye. It makes you it really grounds you down and makes you think twice about, well, you went over there and you went into that. You lost people that were there with you, and the fact that you made it back. And even any of the other veterans out there, we have several groups that we work with, and between myself and even Casey. So if you want to reach out through Combustion Chamber, reach out to him, reach out to myself. We have channels that we can get you if it is something you need. So,
and that's the same thing I said at the end of that episode, and I'll repeat it here as well. If you're feeling certain things, you're dealing with the stressors of military service and deployment and things like that, don't hesitate to reach out. There are people that genuinely care. Reach out to me. You can contact me on all of our social media, whatever works for you. Because what I think a lot of Americans don't realize is that we're still a nation at war. We still have soldiers in Iraq. We still have soldiers in Afghanistan and many other countries around the world. So if you're feeling certain things, living with the effects of your military service, do not be afraid to reach out, and reach out to us if you'd like.
Yeah, we're here. We're always here for you. So with that, again, thank you for your service. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the show. Thanks for hanging out with us, because this is a little different than some what we bring out. So you guys have seen us, crazy people that have led us into their businesses. So we've been in print shops and various other things. Oh, another cool episode that we had, and again dealing with the veterans. Mm-hmm. Those of you that are in Orlando, right off of 192, it's not even a mile east of, Old Town there. In Old Town, they have car shows on Fridays.
Fridays and Saturdays, every week like clockwork, yeah.
But go just a little bit east there. You're going to see a big old tank sitting right in their front lawn. The Military Museum of History is in there. So Tony Busby with Great Florida Insurance, he's always around Crema, but he has a lot of his, he's got his uniform and everything from when he served inside that museum. So check out that episode. I'll put links to all of the episodes we talked about for Combustion Chamber, and I'll put that Military Museum in there as well. If you don't watch any of our other episodes, watch that Military Museum one. At least check that one out. Go visit them. They don't get any help from outside. Everything they have is from the community. And go there and visit. Their memberships are very inexpensive. I think it's $70 for the year for the whole family. And don't think that because you walk in today, you've seen everything. They change things up. So what you see today is different next month and different next month. And they also have a mobile truck that they'll put out where they'll load everything up as well. So definitely check that one out. But we're out and about. Casey, thanks for hanging out with us on Crema here today. And Anthony, so yes, I have been very bad. I haven't been filming near as much as I should have since we've been out trying to actually get business and help businesses in our live presentations, but we are bringing back the videos and podcasts and everything else. So what do we got with that?
Yep, so we are officially kicking off Business and Tech Connect. It is a way for us to help business owners and entrepreneurs spread their business out. We're going to be doing live lunch and learns, workshops, podcast episodes, highlighting businesses as much as we can to really give you guys a chance to share your story, what differentiates you, share it not only with other business owners, but also with your potential clients as well. One of the things that I think was really important in this episode that we talked that was related to you was going and showing how meticulously you go through each episode and how you plan out where the cameras go, how you plan out how the road's going to be, where the shots are. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into our businesses that I think we can learn from each other and help each other out. So even just in here, you should have gotten a lot of information, whether it be about social media, whether it be about how you plan and sell your business. So those are the kind of things that we're hoping to give everyone a chance to get on. So we look forward to sharing more information over the next few weeks.
And you did mention about how he does drive the cars. Just an FYI, so some of those scenes that you see that do happen to adjust the speed limit, you actually have a road down in Mexico that you do a quick transport on for that, correct?
Yes, any high-speed driving is done in the wonderful nation of Mexico. Thank you for that, by the way, Mexico.
So anyway, with that, guys, check out Combustion Chamber. Check out Crema and any of our senses. So cremadinona.com, you can go there. You can go through our YouTube channel, but we'll catch you on the Tuesday mornings. If you want to meet with us live, we'll catch you on our socials, and maybe we need a Crema car show.
Hey, I know some people.
Let's see what we got. So talk to you guys later. Have a great day.
Y'all have a good one.
Thanks for watching. See ya.
You really broke the car in. I've been driving the car like a little bitch. I have. I've been driving the car like a little bitch. You broke the car in. Now I can really, really drive the car. Like Casey Porter fucking broke the car in. Now I can do it.